Now, DC Comics is making another attempt to collect the Sandman stories, and not the Neil Gaiman stuff that Mr. Harvey's been talking about. This is the Sandman Mystery Theater, featuring the Golden Age Sandman, Wesley Dobbs, who spent some time in the Justice Society. Now, the title ran for 70 issues on the Vertigo imprint from 1993 to 1999. This is from the creative team of Matt Wagner, Steve Siegel, and Guy Davis. Now, this collection has been attempted twice before and never went through the complete run. Series of trade paperbacks from 2004 to 2010, and then in 2016 with 2 books that collected issues 1 through 24 and the annual, and then nothing. There's about 70 issues, and this looks like it's going to try to do the first 40 or so. This collection will be 1,000 pages, and it'll be on shelves in March. And we'll see how far it goes. I don't know, Mr. Harvey, does that seem like it's going to run this time? Maybe Neil Gaiman's show is going to help the sales of this book?
I hope so. If you've never read Sandman Mystery Theater, it's a really, really good series. And for a character that certainly the one of the reasons that Neil Gaiman was actually able to do the Sandman comic in the first place was that at the time DC viewed the character of the Sandman as something that if this young British guy screwed it up, everything was going to be okay because nobody cared. This was actually the business model for DC at the time. This is when the British invasion, right? The British comic invasion, where they were like, we've got all these characters which we're not doing anything with. Let's give them to these guys, and let's give them, a year to screw it up. And, suddenly that gives you your, Neil Gaiman, your Grant Morrisons, your Alan Moores. And this is how all this happened. And of course, Gaiman was convinced that he was going to get 8 issues, and they were going to sit there and go, wrap it up. Didn't quite happen.
And if I remember right, the Wesley Dobbs Sandman actually shows up in Gaiman's run at one point, right? They end up getting connected.
While he's not showing up in the series, the Netflix series, so just on the basis of how things are produced, right? The Netflix series has very little connection to the actual DC universe, and the Sandman comic, while it started off in that first 12 issues, you saw a lot of connections to the larger DC universe, and then as time went on, less and less and less.
Right.
And considering everything going on with Warner Brothers right now, the fact that the current the Netflix Sandman has very, very few, even far fewer connections to the TV show. The TV show does to the DC universe. That's working out fine. Not to mention the fact that if you're brand new to watching the show, you don't have to get the reference why John Jones is in, issue 2,
right?
Issue 2 or 3. You don't have to know who John D is. You don't have to know he's Dr. Destiny in the DC universe to know who the character is, and they can still use the name John D. Now, some fans got upset that they couldn't use John Constantine, but quite frankly, having watched the first 6 episodes of The Sandman, I binged them yesterday.
Sure you did.
And if your only experience with Jenna Coleman is Doctor Who, you may be in for a bit of a shock. Because it's a very different character she's playing here. And of course, if you've seen her in other stuff outside of the Doctor Who universe, you know that. But I'm 6 episodes in, and personally as a fan, as somebody who was 18, 19 when the comic first came out, and went to the comic book store every month and bought the issues. I have the individual issues. I think I have the entire run. I'm stunned how good the adaptation is. No. You and I have both talked about this before on H2O a lot of times, is how things have to change from one medium to another.
Right.
There are obviously changes from comic book to television. There's no question. You have to have it. And I'm really impressed. Now, does that mean you're going to get a second season? It's Netflix.
So probably not.
The numbers could be great. People could be praising the show up and down, and there have been other shows, and I got one in our news stories today that Netflix has put out in the world, and it got good reviews.
Yep.
And it's not coming back. So I mean, it's fingers crossed. But
Yep.
if even if it doesn't come back, I think a lot of Sandman fans are going to be pleased to have this. I've got 4 more episodes. They could screw it up.
Yeah. So speaking of the stories in your pile this morning, I'm going to get out of the way and let you share those with us today. So
Sure.
Have at it.
Well, I was going to lead off talking a little bit about Sandman, but I just did. So there we go. So now I'm going to hop over to Jordan Peele. Now, Jason was mentioning the League of Super Pets that actually dethroned Jordan Peele's Nope from the #1 slot. Having seen the League of Super Pets, it's very fun. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's old DC, but it works for the family. So it actually bumped Nope down from its #1 slot. That means that currently Nope has brought in 44 million in its first weekend, and now we are at 80 million. The expectation here is not that it's going to actually get to the 175 to 225 million dollars of his previous 2 films, but nonetheless, these are good numbers for the world that we live in currently, and that's going to be a qualifier for a while, I expect. But nonetheless, it's doing pretty well. Reviews, of course, generally positive. Some folks in there who are not fans, but that's the way it always is. If you are a fan and want to pick up some merch from it, you actually can. This is not spoilery, by the way. This is actually stuff that appears in the film as stuff you can buy, as characters in the film can buy. These are representations in the minds of some characters of what some alien creatures may appear to be. You've seen the flying saucer in the trailer. These are from Trick or Treat Studios. These are from the Star Lasso Experience, and Alien Viewer plush dolls, Alien Viewer mask, and Alien Viewer hands, which I don't have here, all for about between $19.99 and $49.99. So if that is your thing, that you can pre-order these and get them in time for Halloween for that horror fan in your life. VHS 99, I think we talked about this last week. We basically the announcement that we're actually even getting VHS 99. Well, it's actually going to premiere September in the world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. It's going to be September 8th through the 18th. And this, of course, is the promotional image they've released for the film. It's not the only horror film that's going to be premiering there. We're actually getting Ty West's Pearl, which is the prequel to his film X, which they shot basically at the same time. The Blackening from Tim Story. The People's Joker from Vera Drew, not a DC film. Project Wolf Hunting by Kim Hongson. Sick by John Hyams. Sisu by Jalmari Hollander. And Venus by Jamais Belagaro. I'm sure I just mangled their name all the way down. These are all world premieres, so if you happen to be checking out that festival, that's actually going to be something quite fun to check out there. And I don't have a graphic for this particular one, but we have news that Screen Gems has acquired Atomic Monsters body horror film COSMETIC. Now, this is a pitch at this point. This is not actually something that has begun production. James Wan and Ingrid Bisu are behind this. It's going to be written by R.H. Norman and Micheline Pitt, who are also going to be directing it. The premise here is that it is set within the cosmetics beauty industry. Glamour and body horror are going to be connected in this. One girl's deadly pursuit of perfection is going to be the trigger for all of the nastiness here. And Screen Gems it's also getting ready to produce Insidious 5. Now, we know that this is going to be set basically in the future of the series. So it's 10 years after Insidious 2. And this is going to be, Patrick Wilson is going to be directing this one. His character, Josh Lambert, heads east to pick his son up, to drop his son off at college. And of course, the next generation of the Lambert family has to deal with more insidious nastiness. So we'll obviously have a lot more information. This is not, we've seen a lot of this Insidious 5 images that I've seen popped up don't appear to actually be actually from the film. It looks, a lot of it's fan art that's popping up, but this one seems to be at least potentially from the film. It's hard to tell at this point. And if you're a fan of Pam Grier, you get a chance to see her in the upcoming horror film As We Know It. She's apparently going to be one of the stars. Chris Parnell from 30 Rock, Taylor Blackwood from Designated Survivor, and Oliver Cooper from Project X are also going to be stars in this. It's going to be set in the 1990s in LA. It's going to be a comedy horror romance film. The love in the time of the apocalypse apparently is going to be the theme, so I'll let you have a lot of more information about that as it develops. And the film The Nanny, which has got tons of praise at Sundance. Blumhouse picked it up. Amazon is going to be bringing this, Blumhouse and Amazon are going to be bringing this to theaters November 23rd of this year. So then it's going to be available on Amazon Prime December 16th. And it deals with a Senegalese immigrant who comes to New York City working for a wealthy couple. And then things start to go bad. Again, lots of praise for this film. Something that, and it's a first feature, so always nice to see. And if you're a fan of author Grady Hendrix, My Best Friend's Exorcism is one of his novels, kind of one of the novels that put him on the map as a writer. It's coming to the screen. It is not, in fact, from promotional art. This is actually promotional art for the book. And this came out in 2016. Beaches meets The Exorcist is how he described it. And of course, it's with the popularity of the 80s right now. Thank you, Stranger Things. This is set in the 80s during the Satanic Panic. And it's a story of two friends, one of whom becomes possessed, and the fallout that's to do with it. There's a lot of humor. It's very dark. And it is going to be coming to Amazon Prime September 30th. So we actually are just not that far away. And continuing the theme of exorcism, we have our first image from the Pope's Exorcist. Here's Russell Crowe playing Father Gabriel Amorth, who of course was a real-life exorcist who wrote books about his experience. And whether or not you believe in such things, it's certainly an engaging story, and of course going to be interesting dramatization of some creepy things, I am sure. And more Exorcist news. Oh, this is the new The Exorcist movie. This, of course, is the Universal Peacock Morgan Creek Blumhouse production. Ann Dowd has joined the cast. She's going to star, of course, Leslie Odom Jr. and Ellen Burstyn are involved in this as well. And of course, Ellen Burstyn is playing the part that she played in the original 1973 The Exorcist. We don't know who Ann Dowd is playing at this point, but of course, she is someone you've seen a lot of over the years. Handmaid's Tale, among other things, currently, and definitely building up a really solid cast here. We'll have to see if the story holds up. Always a challenge, right? And as silly as an idea as I thought Spirit Halloween was, the film certainly is shaping up to be at least potentially interesting. We have our first teaser trailer and our first poster art just came out this week. Of course, again, this sets in a Spirit Halloween shop with, creatures coming after kids. Christopher Lloyd, Richard Lee Cook, of course, are in this as well. And I don't know, it kind of looks like it might be fun. And of course, geared for a younger audience. But that's okay too. We like that. And Jamie Lee Curtis appears to have joined. There's not an official announcement on this, but apparently, based on a rumor and her going to social media, the new Haunted Mansion film is going to have Jamie Lee Curtis in it. So we'll see. One Take News put this out. Did she join the cast? And she drops this on social media, apparently confirming it. She's supposed to be playing the character Madame Leota, the disembodied head of a psychic that lives inside a crystal ball. And of course, no official confirmation, but we will see. There's also news that Jared Leto has joined the cast, so I don't know. If you need more Jared Leto, that's a thing that could potentially be happening. We'll have to see. And Brett and Drew Pierce, who directed The Wretched, these are brothers, have been tapped to write and direct Room 428. It's going to be coming from Screen Gems. We don't have any information about the plot at this point, but Scott Derrickson, of course, from Sinister, Doctor Strange, and The Black Phone, of course, just out. Screenwriter C. Robert Cargill and Cheryl Clark are all involved in this project as well, most likely considering the fact that their film, The Wretched, is a horror film, and of course, Derrickson and company's experience with horror odds are pretty good. It's a horror movie. So we'll have more information about that as it develops. And if you happen to be a fan of J.K. Simmons and Ryan Kwanten from True Blood, among other things, the film Glorious is on the way, August 18th, right around the corner. Now, even describing this is probably going to be racier than we normally do here on anything on Sci-Fi for me, because at a rest stop bathroom, there is a glory hole. Now, if you need to have that explained to you, I'm not going to help you. I'm sorry, you can look that up. The internet, it's a terrifying place. But through the hole in the wall comes the voice of a creature, voiced by J.K. Simmons. So described as a Lovecraftian... I'm not sure if horror comedy is what we're going to go here. Yeah, a Lovecraftian-inspired comic horror. Yeah, coming from Shudder. Something to check out, should you be so inclined. I'm not sure where to go with this. Anyway, moving on. We've talked about this. We actually do have confirmation now that Night of the Living Dead is coming to 4K Ultra HD October 4th, 2022, with a ton of extras. We also have news that Return of the Living Dead is coming October 18th, 2022. Again, 4K Ultra, tons of extras. And Halloween 4K collection, 1995 to 2002. It's Halloween and the Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. It's October 4th. It's going to have, again, all kinds of extras, including if you order the 4K Ultra HD from shoutfactory.com, you get 3 18 by 24 posters as well. And the folks over at Vinegar Syndrome have got The Incredible Melting Man in 4K, Hot Snake, Forgotten Guile, Volume 5, and The Birds 2, Land's End, all coming to 4K for Ultra. Incredible Melting Man is 4K. The other ones are going to be on Blu-ray. And then we also have, I'm sure that you'll enjoy, folks, The Killer Clowns from Outer Space soundtrack is on its way as a vinyl from Waxwork Records. And this can be picked up for $40, and you can go ahead and order that from Waxwork Records. Words that apparently are hard for me to say. Now, we mentioned the concern that you might not get a Sandman Season 2. It's Netflix, fingers crossed. But you're not going to get a second season of First Kill. Deadline was reporting that they are not going to go ahead and move ahead with the second season. Now, reviews for this and the viewing numbers actually were pretty solid. Now, they did fall off relatively quickly, but not terribly so. Now, the folks behind this have actually taken to social media to say that their concern was that this was marketed pretty much as a teen lesbian story as opposed to being a vampire story, and they think that they may have been a mistake not drawing in the audience that they thought they could draw in that way. But it's also Netflix. You just don't know. It's always hard to tell. And we do have confirmation that American Horror Story is coming back for its 11th season this fall. It is the official announcement. We had pretty much suspected it was going to happen. Of course, the folks behind American Horror Story have been doing things. American Horror Stories currently is running on Hulu, and in the plural there. And they've got other things on the way. American Love Story, American Crime Story, American Sports Story, all on the way. We'll have to see what's going on there. And we now know that the new Hulu Alien series, Hulu FX, is from Noah Hawley, of course, the guy behind Fargo and Legion. It's going to start shooting, or it's going to come to screens in 2023. Scripts are all done. They're getting ready to move forward on production, and it is all set on Earth. Now, we don't know if this is going to be meant to be an ongoing series or a limited series. No word on that, but 2023 on the way, and it's actually apparently going to be set, and I'm quoting here from the folks behind it. Alien takes place before Ripley. It's the first story in the Alien franchise that takes place on Earth. It takes place on our planet near the end of the century we're currently in, 70 odd years from now. So, glossing over a certain Aliens versus Predator film, I think, and no one's going to complain so much about that. Peacock is also going to go back to the Satanic Panic, the TV show Hysteria. That's Hysteria with an exclamation point. It's a coming-of-age thriller set in the 1980s. Very popular space. Again, thank you, Stranger Things. As someone who was a teenager in the 80s, it's all very nostalgia. And Matthew Scott Kane from Stitchers, and Chris Bender and Jake Weiner's Good Fear Content, the folks behind the 2020 Mulan and My Spy, are going to be behind this. It explores the complex world of Satanic Panic set amidst 80s nostalgia, mystery, heavy metal, and an all-American setting. It's about a struggling high school heavy metal band in the late 80s, and one of their school's quarterbacks disappear. Murders and other supernatural things result. So we'll have a lot more news about that, I'm sure, as it develops. And the Dead by Daylight folks continue to bring lots of other franchises over into their game. The Resident Evil Project W is the latest. Albert Wesker, of course, from Resident Evil, is going to be the killer of this particular one. And it's going to involve a Raccoon City Police Department map. And Ada Wong and Rebecca Chambers are going to be joining the cast, the rotating cast of the Dead by Daylight game. And if you have seen the buzz around Stray, where basically you play as a stray cat moving through a post-apocalyptic world inhabited by robots, a lot of people are raving about this game. Well, it's now got a Doom mod. That's right, you can actually take the cat from Stray and kill demons in the Doom mod. You'll need to download GZ Doom 4.71, or the original WAD, so either Doom or Doom 2. Yes, the cat is wearing the Doom guy's helmet there. And a physical version of Stray is going to ship out. If you want to actually play the game as a physical version, and of course you can find Stray as the digital versions out there. Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? Cats killing demons, I'm on board. And Yours Cruelly, Elvira, is moving its way to a limited edition paperback. These are going to be signed editions as well. And it's got a special alternate jacket. It's available through pre-order. And Dynamite Comics There's new Dynamite Comics Elvira packaging. Volume 2 of Elvira, the Classic Year Omnibus, is getting ready to go into an Indiegogo campaign. Lots of stuff from Elvira there. And I've not read her book, but I have had several friends of mine who have tell me that it is really, really good. And if you are someone who likes to pick up your horror through magazine form, Red Cape Publishing has got the debut issue of their Cauldron of Chaos. It's a quarterly coming out. It's going to involving flash fiction, artwork in the horror space, and got work by David Paul Harris, Kevin J. Kennedy, Candice Nola, DJ Doyle, The Dead Seas, Sludgework Meg, and a bunch of other writers and illustrators. Stories, illustrations, reviews, interviews, competitions, and more. And if you're a fan of R.L. Stine, this is coming from Boom Comics. This is going to be a 4-issue limited series. These are some of the variant. The center image there is the official cover. The two on the left and the right are variants. There's a bunch of different variants for this. And it is R.L. Stine's reimagining of various monsters. Stuff of Nightmares is the name of the series. And it is 4 issues, like I said. Of course, Stine is the author of Fear Street and Goosebumps. And of course, having a big resurgence, again, going back to 80s and 90s for really his explosion into the literary world. This is diving into different versions of the monsters you think you know. So that sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Now, this is going to be available. Print copies are coming out in September 21st, at your local comic book shop or at the Boom Studios web store. And Scripts Gone Wild is coming back. Now, this was widely considered for a long time to be LA's best kept secret. And this was basically a bunch of professionals coming together to do script readings for charity. And this particular one is going to be back. The last couple of years obviously have been virtual, but Bloody Disgusting reported that it's going to be returning to the LCID Theater on Sunset on August 24th. They're doing a reading of Stephen King's Creepshow. And Barbara Crampton, of course, from Reanimator, we talked about her last week, is going to be one of the folks there. Chad Michael Collins from Mystery Science Theater's Jonah Ray and Deanna Rooney are coming, and Kirk Thatcher of Muppets Haunted Mansion are among the folks who are going to be involved with this. Now, the charity that's going to be supported by this particular performance is the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, and proceeds for the ticket sales will be benefiting that. Tickets can be purchased from the official Scripts Gone Wild website if you have the opportunity to check that out. That's pretty cool. And we also have news that we've got more Funko Stranger Things stuff on the way. And Billy Butcherson, we've got Vecna, we've got all kinds of things there. And this is, of course, just part of the larger Funko collection of Stranger Things. This particular wave has got Mike, Erica, Robin, Argyle, Eleven, Steve, Vecna, one of his Demobats, and there's new pop keychains, multi-packs, Robin and Nancy stuff, Surfer Boy Pizza van, all kinds of things. All of this stuff is available for pre-order. And I don't currently have an image, but in case you were wondering, yes, we're going to have more tie-ins for Hocus Pocus 2 as it comes in. There's actually Candy Hunting is a online publication that deals with such things. Hocus Pocus 2 themed cereal is on the way. Very brew. I'll try to have an image for that for you next week, just to bring things together. Thank you for your patience, folks. Sorry about the technical issues. We hope that you enjoy the show this morning.
We do have a question in the chat, though. Paulie from Latino Slant is asking if we know anything, whether or not they're going to adapt the upcoming Alien novel focusing on Vasquez for film or TV.
I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard anything about an adaptation. That and the release date that I've got, this article here on Bloody Disgusting says it is coming out October 25th. So they may have bumped it up, because I think some people were thinking it was coming in November, but it's dropping October 25th according to this report that I've got here in front of me. So, but yeah, I haven't heard anything about an Alien adaptation for that particular.
No,
story.
and if you want more Alien right now, there's Marvel currently has the rights to the Alien franchise, and I have been enjoying their current Alien run. Yep. It's dark, shocking. I know you're shocked. You're shocked to hear that Aliens are dark stories, full of lots of nastiness. But I think it's interesting, and I think that they're doing a pretty good job. Now, again, how long can that stuff be maintained? That's always an issue with an ongoing comic series. You hope it's going to be for a long time.
Yeah. Good Morning Multiverse, Saturday morning at 11, 10 Central.
Only on Sci-Fi for Me TV.